I will get us started, all set. I'm going to do real quick. I'm Kate Lee. I'm the Executive Director of Education and Workforce at the South Bend Regional Chamber. So thanks to everyone for being a part of Manufacturing Days 2021 and attending this session. All attendees are muted, but we still want to hear from you. So please use the chat function to ask any questions or share comments. Remember, this is a 30-minute session, so don't save them all to the end. So we want to have time to answer those. So as you have a question, just drop it into the chat. This, I said, scheduled for 30 minutes. We want to thank all of our sponsors also for Manufacturing Days 2021. You can find the full list on the Manufacturing Days landing page, which we hope you've already visited or will soon. And this session is sponsored by our presenting sponsor, Coca-Cola, and that's also our featured speaker. They and our other sponsors recognize the important role manufacturing plays in our region and want to help ensure students learn about these businesses and the great career opportunities they offer. Erin Venno, a great partner in this work, is the Sector Relations Manager and Apprenticeship Success Coordinator, big job, for Michigan Works. And she will be moderating this conversation. So take it away, Erin.
Thank you, Kate. Welcome, everybody. And as she said, my name is Erin Venno, and I'm here to moderate the conversation over Manufacturing Days 2021. With us today from Coca-Cola, we have Chris McComas, who is a maintenance utilities supervisor. She's been with Coca-Cola for over 30 years and will help discuss her past and present experience in maintenance and production, along with Lee Kasholi, who's an HR business partner. Lee already told me she doesn't plan on talking too much, so I didn't have to give her a whole lot, but we're going to introduce her anyway for being a great partner. So welcome, Chris. Thank you for being here with us today. I think I'll start off with the softball one here and the easy one. So how did you choose your career, or better yet, sometimes as we know, how does your career choose you?
Well, it definitely chose me. I did not choose it. So as you mentioned, I've been here for 30 years. So it just kind of snowballed to this career. It was from learning all the different things. I started on the production line, and then I went to the maintenance stockroom, learned a lot of things there, got involved with the utilities department, learned a lot of things there. And then the opportunity rose, a position opened in the utilities supervisors. And so I went for it. So that's how I got here. Quick abbreviation.
30 years, it passes in the blink of an eye.
Yes.
So what you talk about is a lot of career pathing. So why would you consider this a great career choice for students to consider?
I would consider it a great career if it's somebody that's motivated and likes to be in a leadership position. There's a lot of leadership to be done in this position, and it's a good paying job. And this one is local, which is great if you're in this local area. But I highly recommend it for people that like to be a leader.
So I know this might seem a little redundant with the career path you just talked about, but can you talk about Coca-Cola, this plant in
She froze.
general? Are there opportunities to grow in this career within the facility itself? Is your story kind of a regular one? Are people able to do
most
that
definitely.
on a regular?
There are lots of people that started out here in Coca-Cola that I've worked with in the past that started as a production employee and are now a supervisor or in even management positions. So yes, there's lots of room for growth.
Do you think there are any special skills, certification, education that would be good inside the facility?
Yeah, there's always lots. It just depends on which path you choose. And of course, mine is maintenance. So if you have some kind of maintenance background, that's key. Also leadership, business, all of those things are key to this position.
So how important is it? Because we all know that when mom or dad says something, we don't necessarily listen all the time. Chris, can you clue us in? How important is it to show up on time every day and communicate well?
It is very important to show up on time every day and communicate well. That is key, because if you do not show up, then in my position, then your team doesn't know what to do. A lot of times they are behind. They're looking for your guidance. So it's very important you come to work every day and on time.
Like I said, you don't always listen to mom and dad, but when somebody else says it, so I know the educators might be chuckling here. So can you talk to me a little bit about Coca-Cola North America, the Pawpaw facility? We all know what Coca-Cola is, right? But I also happen to know, as I've been in that facility a number of times, that there's more than meets the eye. Can you talk to us a little bit about the products that kind of go into the facility, come out of the facility?
Yes, absolutely. We make all of the juice and Powerade here. So we make your Minute Maid orange juice. We make your High C drink boxes. We make your Powerade that you drink at sporting events. We make Honest Kids pouches. We make a variety of juice beverages.
Did you know anybody who had a maintenance or utilities job when you were in high school?
No, I did not.
And so how in the world was Coca-Cola just, you wanted to get a job, or was it something that you were looking to go into?
So it was, I wanted to get a job and I needed a good paying job to support myself and to support my future with a family. And so I started here. Like I said, I started on the production line and it just kind of evolved into this position. I got involved in the maintenance program with the stockroom, which was a mild piece, but then I learned a lot of things there. I learned how to read P&IDs. I learned what a pump was, a motor was, bearings, all of those pieces, and it just evolved from there.
That's pretty incredible. So what are some of the responsibilities that you have in your role now?
So I have a team of like 22 people underneath me. So my biggest responsibility is to make sure that they all work safely and that they are provided all the tools they need to do their jobs. And if they have any questions, whether it be personal or whether it be work related, I'm there to help them. So it's basically just a leadership and being a leader for my team.
So 22 people, it's a pretty large team, right? So when you're hiring somebody for that team, what are things that you look for?
I look for someone with enthusiasm, someone that has some experience, because in this position I have to have experience, some basic knowledge of maintenance. I also look for someone that is friendly, outspoken, not afraid to do the things that are right. That's basically what I look for. Just a personality.
We always say that you can teach the hard skills, but the soft skills, how to be a human, those are a little bit harder to teach.
Yes, definitely.
What is a typical day like for you or your team members?
A typical day is pretty much, because I'm in utilities, we are pretty much the whole building. We're responsible for many things. So a typical day for us is we come in, we chat with the night shift, find out what's going on, what kind of things we have to address today, make phone calls if it's stuff we can't fix ourselves. If it is stuff we can fix ourselves, then my team goes out and fixes it, whether it be an HVAC does not work, or there's a leak in the roof, or whatever comes to us that day.
So can you give, for those that are listening, can you give a little context on the size of the facility, the number and breadth of the machines that you may be working on?
I don't know how big is this facility?
It's big, I can tell you that. But I don't have the numbers, but walking through, so, it's big.
It's big. There are about 300 and some folks here that work for us. The machines are very large. I can describe it this way: an HVAC machine or HVAC unit that is on our roof has to be brought in by a crane, if that tells you how big those units are. So that's just one piece. We have lots of other pieces that we are responsible for, but I think the best to describe it is the HVAC. You have to think that in order to get it on the roof, I have to have a crane put it there.
That's large.
It's very large.
That's large and it's heavy. So taking kind of a different route here, tell me about your first job. Was there anything that you saw growing up, your childhood, your jobs, your hobbies that thought might lead you to a mechanically inclined type of career?
Possibly. So my very first job was I worked at a Kmart and I worked in the automotives department. So I did parts and helped look up parts. It's a limited part source at Kmart. I don't think any of these kids probably remember a Kmart, but anyways, but yeah, so I did do those things. So it kind of started there, I think. And then from there, I came here to Coca-Cola, and I went to production employee, which was a whole big different world from retail. But the retail helped me learn how to deal with others in different scenarios, different employees and different customers and stuff like that. So, and it probably helped that I worked in the automotive. So with parts and pieces, it's kind of still related to a mechanic position. So
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and you answered my next question. What did it teach you to use in your job today? We all know that those beginning jobs, they really carry with you, and some of the things that you learn, especially in those first roles. So hearing that and how to get along, because like you said, with 300 employees, you yourself have a team of about 22. Getting along is a big part of it, working together. What do you wish that you knew when you were in school, if you knew what your career pathway would look like?
I probably would have taken more mechanic classes if I would have thought that I was going to be in the mechanic world. I might have taken some more mechanic stuff when I was growing up, but that was probably be my biggest thing.
And I think a good lesson learned on this one, we have a lot of students that think if they're not in the CTE world, or they're not doing anything mechanical right at this moment, that means that they can't succeed in that role. But I think you're proving them wrong right now.
I think so. It seems to be that way because I did not have much background at all. So when I started, like I said, it was in production, which didn't have anything to do with any of the stuff I'm doing now.
So did you do a lot of your learning on the job or from mentors, or did you go for training?
Most of all of it is from mentors and on the job. I have very little training, not a lot.
Can you tell me a little bit more about what roles the mentors have played in your life?
Yeah, so they've taught me a lot of things. I've had a lot of different people. I've been involved with a lot of different people that are no longer here. They've retired or moved on to a different job. They've taught me a lot of things. Like I said, I've been briefly taught how to read a PNID, which is a big diagram of pipes and stuff like that. So I was taught that. I was taught various programs that we use, financial programs we've used, a lot of different stuff. I've learned a lot of different things over the years from a lot of different people.
Where did you gain the confidence to try these things? I mean, I don't want to say it's an elephant in the room, but a woman in this role, that's also not the most usual thing that you see. And I mean, we think it's fantastic. You see a lot of women on this call, and we're all very, very pro manufacturing and choose your career. But it takes a lot of guts and confidence to kind of step into that role, especially if it's not something that you did a lot as a youngster. Can you talk a little bit about where you got that confidence?
So I think I got that confidence when I was growing up, because my family was very much, you could do whatever you set out to do. They brought me up that way. So if it was something I wanted to do, I just did, I just applied and did it. Sometimes I failed. Sometimes it didn't always work for me. I was very nervous applying for this job, but at the end of the day, if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. And it seems to be working just fine so far.
I just noticed that they put in the chat box here. So this Coca-Cola facility has over 200 acres and 410,000 square feet with an annual volume production of 37 million cases per year.
That sounds about right.
That's a lot.
Big.
I joke around that some of my favorite memories with Coca-Cola are sitting at about midnight or 1 a.m. drinking juice boxes in one of the rooms, waiting for a presentation. So fun facility with a lot of people. What are some of the best ways that you can talk about if someone wants to go from high school, these students that are listening, some of them which may be involved in skilled trade CTE programming and some that may not, if they wanted to get into a role like this, where should they start?
I think the biggest thing that they should look at is leadership, because that's huge. That's huge here at Coca-Cola is, can you be the leader? Because you need to be a leader to guide everyone forward, and you need to be a leader to make sure that everyone is on the same page and your job is getting done correctly. And just, it's just finding a place to go. Schooling helps. If you have schooling and you're not really sure what it is, maybe do some schooling for a supervisor position, manufacturing or business or something like that. That always helps. A lot of those things teach leadership skills. So that's my biggest thing.
How about if an adult was looking to pursue a new career and join Coca-Cola? Would you have the same advice for them, or would you have something else that you'd like to tell them?
Probably pretty much. The biggest thing is here, I find that we do a lot of training, we do a lot of teaching and guiding. So if they start like me, I started out at the bottom and now I'm working my way up forward. So never be discouraged. Always try, and you never know. It may just happen for you, just depending on how excited you are and how much drive you have.
And I think a lot of that comes from the confidence you talked about. And although it's not easy, sometimes you just kind of have to pull your shoulders back and try. And I think that can go for anybody in that role. When you talk about becoming a leader at a young age, sometimes that takes a lot of confidence. And so, I mean, telling the students on this call, that isn't something that necessarily, it's not because you're not scared of it. It's because you're brave enough to try.
Correct.
So I have a question in the chat here. Is the pathway from line worker to management a common route at your company?
Oh, yeah, it is. We see a lot of that here. We do see a lot of it. I have on my team right now, my management team, there are 3 of us that came from the production. Well, 4 of us that came from the production side. And now we are all in supervision and management.
Oh, that, and just within your own department, excuse me.
Yep.
What do you think are the commonalities for those people that have moved up from production to a supervisory role?
Leadership is key here. Leadership. Some of them are mechanic. One of them was a mechanic. 2 of them were mechanics prior. So that helps them in their roles because they have a lot of mechanic background. They were leaders to begin with. They were probably shift leads. I think they all were shift leads at some point in time. So leadership is huge.
Would, if you were looking at different opportunities within Coca-Cola, because I realize that there's a lot of departments, what pathway through school would you suggest students choose if they were looking, if they specifically want to be at Coca-Cola? I've worked with a number of different departments, so we would love to hear what top skills you might learn at school that would be applicable at Coca-Cola.
I would take manufacturing courses. There's manufacturing courses, there's scheduling, production schedulers, like there's a lot of different things here. It just depends on what they want to pursue. We have supervisors, managers, production schedulers. We have, heck, I don't know. We have lots. we have HR people.
We do.
So yeah, any HR roles or anything like that, classes that they could find that highlight those things. Absolutely, they would be great for here.
Another question we have from the chat. What are the top skills you wish all new employees have?
Boy, that's a tough one.
Right on the spot there.
Communication is key. Communication and work performance. They want to come to work. They're motivated. Motivation and communication are probably big things that I would suggest everyone has to make it in the workforce, especially our production plant like this.
Oh, this is a great question. Nice one, Scott. How has technology changed your job over your career?
Oh. It's changed a lot, sometimes not for the better. It's changed a lot of different things. When I first started working in the maintenance world, we had a very primitive maintenance program, and now we have an SAP maintenance program, which is much larger and much better. Sometimes it's not as good, but sometimes it is. So it's evolved immensely.
Well, can you talk about the positive impacts it's had on safety or production?
Yes, it's had a lot of positive impacts on production because we are able to track the work we do in the maintenance, on the maintenance team. We're able to keep track of work orders. Those are things that we do to keep the machinery running, preventative maintenance, things like that. It tracks all of that. It's easy to find. We can open it up and there it is. It tells us all the details, which parts were used, when we did it, who did it. So it has a lot of tracking abilities.
Now, inside that facility, I've seen a lot of lines and a lot of robotics that are making pieces move from point A to point B without any human contact. Has that changed the education or skills that the maintenance and utilities department needs in order to keep these up and functioning?
Oh, absolutely. So education and skills are always have to be updated and pursued. We have different things that are changing all the time, and the OEMs that we get the equipment from, a lot of times will provide training when there's updated things to their pieces of equipment. So yes, the maintenance team is always on their toes and lots of trainings to be done to keep up with all the state-of-the-art equipment that we bring in.
Have you found that newer members of your team need to have more of an education in robotics or mechatronics in order to really keep up with some of the things that you're doing?
No, not really.
No?
No, not really. They mostly, it depends on what part of the team they're in. We do have teams that focus on a lot of those kind of things. But for the most part, basic maintenance is what we see a lot of. We train that here, so if we need, we can get it.
Another question we have, how important are logbooks and record keeping in your department?
Oh, logbooks and record keeping are my topic this week. So I've been going through a lot of that. Is very important because I have a lot of environmental things. I am involved with the ammonia systems. All of these things have to be tracked and kept up. And the logs are very important because we have to prove that to sometimes the Eagle, which is the environmental group. So there's lots of things that we have to keep track of in order to keep in compliance, the building in compliance and Coca-Cola in compliance.
And I would imagine when we talk about compliance, we talk about not only environmentally, but the fact that we have consumables inside the building, which probably adds another layer.
Yes, most definitely.
How has COVID changed how Coca-Cola does business in Pawpaw?
Well, we have to wear the mask every day. So that changed everything. As you see, I have mine on. So it changed a lot of things. It's changed the way production runs because it's hard to get things. We ran into problems with pallets. We couldn't get pallets. We run into problems with chemicals. We can't get chemicals. It's definitely a challenge. We're working through them, but it's definitely a challenge.
And I know there were a lot of measures in place, again, because you have consumables within your facility, but I personally know that a few things have changed as well, just to make sure that everything is as safe as possible with your staff. Having 300 people in the same facility creates some difficulties with distancing and things like that.
Yep, we go through a temperature check every morning. Social distancing is key. We do a lot of that. We do a lot of that here. A lot of reiterating about social distancing and health and that kind of thing.
So, Chris, can you tell me if you had words of wisdom or advice parting words for students that are listening to this, that are looking at a maintenance and utilities career, what would you tell them?
I would say stay motivated, be positive, don't let things bring you down. Make sure you go to work every day, make sure that you are communicating with people, work on your developments as far as leadership. And I think you'll succeed.
Thank you for joining us today. I know Chris and Lee especially for your technology, as I always say technology is great when it works. So thank you very much, both of you, for joining us today.
Thank you.
Thank you to all the students and educators that have tuned in to listen. These will be on the South Bend Chamber website if you would like to listen to the recordings. If you haven't had an opportunity, the sessions from last week are now up and live on the website if you want to check those out as well.
So thank you so much to Chris, Aaron, and Lee for all of the information and great things to think about for the students today and the educators, and to the attending students and educators. Thanks for being here. Again, like Aaron said, I encourage you to visit the Manufacturing Days landing page. This session will be recorded. Make sure you share it with the adults in your life so they also know about these great career opportunities, and you can have those discussions about where you might want to go next after high school or what your next step might be. So thanks to everyone for being here, and have a great day.